Hello everyone, I'm Tracy and thank you for tuning in today. And if you're here for the live chat, thank you so much for participating. I really appreciate getting that interaction and hearing your comments and questions. It gives me a better idea of what you guys are thinking and what's going through your minds when you hear these things coming out. So the main thing that I'll be covering today is the newly released results of the independent investigation that was ordered by the Attorney General and Lopez. Now this was ordered some time ago. It's taken quite a long time to get these results, and this is part one of at least 3 parts. So it's a very comprehensive report. What I'll be talking about today is mainly the communications that were released between somewhere between Herman Andaya and Gabuat, who was reporting to Herman from the EOC in Maui because Herman was in Honolulu at a FEMA conference. And there's also communication with Mayor Bissen. And we're going to try to put some pieces together as far as where he was and why he reported to the news at around 6 p.m. that roads going in and out of Lahaina were fine when in fact the town was burning down. And there had already been a report of a fatality, and there had already been reports of people jumping in the water to escape the fire.
County officials may have had outdated information as the crisis unfolded.
I'm happy to report that the road is open to and from Lahaina, Hokiokio Road.
The mayor appears unaware here at 6:03 p.m. that Front Street has already been burning.
But again, we had some challenges earlier today trying to get people in and out of Lahaina. That road opened at about 5 p.m.
Which would mean due to down power lines, Hokiokio Place was shut down before 5 while the fire was spreading, hindering southbound evacuees from accessing the main road leading uphill from town to the southbound bypass. The mayor at 6:03 p.m. makes no mention that the fire had moved past the Lahaina bypass, over Honoapilani Highway, through town, or reached Front Street.
So we're going to try to answer that question. And also, I'll give a little bit of an analysis of what I think is going to happen going forward and what's going on with some of these news reports coming out, because the big news channels are reporting on this and giving some opinions. So I wanted to kind of look at that and give you guys an idea of what I think is going on there.
Investigators outline what sounds like extreme inaction by local leaders here in Maui. It began with warnings of extreme weather a week before the weather actually arrived here on August 8th. And at that time, the head of the Emergency Management Agency, a man named Herman Andaya, was actually off island on Oahu nearby, attending, ironically, an emergency preparation conference. Meanwhile, back here in Maui, according to the report, several fires had broken out early in the morning, and the state even offered assistance multiple times, but Mayor Richard Bissen, according to the investigation, declined, saying things were under control. State officials even suggested declaring an emergency proclamation. That was also declined by the mayor, who said he didn't think it was necessary. It wasn't until 8 o'clock at night, according to this report, that declaration was signed. And by that hour, Lahaina had already fallen. Meanwhile, Herman Andaya did not make his way back to the island until the following day, around the same time our news crew from Los Angeles arrived. He resigned last year. There are now calls for the mayor to step down as well. The report does not go into detail about what caused the fire. That's part of the phase 2 of this investigation, and we're told it could take several months before there's a conclusion and determination. Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to hear that the mayor was still in his position, especially when I think back to that, to the press conference, the briefing that he gave, where you asked him, you said to him, listen, if the buck stops at you and you're the mayor, why didn't you alert, I think, the Maui's defense director? And he kind of stumbled through the answer, and he said, well, who's to say who's responsible for alerting him? When you talk to residents, I mean, what has their reaction been to this report, to the news of just this complete breakdown, and to the fact that, a lot of the people who were tasked with keeping them protected did not do their job?
There is a growing sense of frustration, and going back to that press conference, the mayor acknowledged he is the boss of the island. He maintained that he was in the Situation Room the entire day, but CBS News reviewed text messages from the mayor that showed he actually left in the afternoon for a doctor's appointment, as there were several fires burning and growing here on the island. Later on, he then went on television, live television, to give updates, seemingly unaware that Lahaina had been destroyed. You can imagine a lot of people saying that there is a need for accountability, and some people even suggesting that there is negligence involved in this lack of a response to this disaster, Emery.
Yeah, well, hopefully this report results in some significant changes. Jonathan, thank you very much.
But if you are new here and you have not subscribed, please do that before you leave. And if you have subscribed, if you can check to see if you're still subscribed, I would really appreciate it. I've been losing a lot of subscribers since my last 3 videos were posted. So if you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to support my efforts and the investigation that I'm doing, you can send a super chat or donate through my Venmo link in the description. So with that, let's get on to the analysis of this report. This report is very detailed. There's a lot of information. So I'm gonna go through what we have so far, and then I'll probably have to do another video going over more of the information, because Shane and I are going through this, but it's taking some time just because there are so many details, and it is putting pieces together and answering a lot of questions, also bringing up more questions, but I do want to do a really deep dive into this and report it to you guys. So okay, with that, let's get started. So today I'm going to just be focusing in on the communications between Herman Andaya, Mayor Bissen, and the EOC. So the day of the 8th, Herman Andaya and also General Hara were not on Maui. They were in Honolulu at a FEMA conference. So Herman was communicating with his secretary, his name is Gabuat, who was in the EOC, reporting to him what was happening, since Herman wasn't there. And then later on, like in the afternoon, the mayor does chime in and give some information about his whereabouts. So that's another thing we're going to look into. And I do want to mention that I believe fairly quickly after this report was released, the mainstream media did do some reports, throwing Mayor Bissen under the bus and calling for his resignation. So I do think he is going to resign. I don't know how long, that's going to take. But my hunch is that it will happen, and I'm not the only one that feels that way. So I'll give some reasons why I think that is. But, well, actually, I don't have to give reasons. I just feel like the media is trying to put pressure on him to resign, the same way Herman Andaya did. So Herman resigned shortly after the fire because he didn't sound the sirens. Now, something I do want to point out that we don't often think about is that not only were the sirens not activated, but this event went on for a long time. So the Kula Olinda fire started like really early in the morning, and then the Lahaina fire started in the afternoon and went into the evening. Now that is a long time for someone such as Herman to order the sirens to be activated, and that never happened. And so that is a question that he answered, saying that he thought people were going to think it was a tsunami and that people were going to run towards the mountains. But I personally don't believe that, but we're going to have to take his word on it, for now. Okay. But there was no communication about that in the communication in this report. We haven't found Herman Andaya, requesting for the sirens to be sounded or anything like that. So there was no insight on that. But let me share with you guys some things that were noteworthy. And these are things that weren't reported on yet, not that I've heard. So at 10:44 a.m. on the 8th, Gabuat to Andaya. Yeah, weird. The staff is acting weird with me. No one really talking or even updating on what is going on. So another thing that he says is that, Gabuat tells Herman, I cannot even sit at my desk at the EOC because of all the PIOs, or public information officers. And then Andaya tells him no one should be seated at your seat. So this implies that there was an effort to keep Gabuat out of the loop, which also meant Andaya was kept out of the loop. And I'm not sure why, but that's what those statements tell me. I don't think, and this might not be a popular opinion, but I don't think Mayor Bissen understood the seriousness of this event. And I do think he checked with people. And we asked Clyde, why he thought Bissen was telling the media this. And he said that he would have, this is what he thinks. The mayor would have checked with one of two people, the police chief or the fire chief. So either John Pelletier or Brad Ventura, who is the fire chief, who was off island at the time, but someone else was in his place. His name is Gisea. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he was the person from the fire department that was in the EOC at the time, and we have confirmation of this. But we don't know who he spoke with and if he attempted to speak with one of those men. I'm not sure. But I do feel like he got bad information and then reported that to the news, not knowing what was really going on. So that is my opinion. I'm not saying that that's okay. I think both Andaya and Bissen could have done more to just to find out more information. Like, I feel like Andaya could have pushed a little harder to make sure that Gabuat was being informed of what was going on, but he kind of didn't. And I really don't think Andaya understood the seriousness of this event at the time. And he has been heard saying that he didn't know about the fatalities till the next day. And I don't know if that's true, but that is what he said. There was also communication confirming that General Hara, who is the adjunct general, he's the one that can order military support during a time like this. He was at a fire and evacuation preparedness meeting. It's called the TAG or TAG meeting. So I do find it a little suspicious that on the 7th at 9 a.m., General Hara was in a meeting about fire and evacuation preparedness. So I thought that was worth reporting. And also at 4:45, coming out of Maui County, Lahaina, so people on the west side were advised to shelter in place unless evacuated. That is a little sus, because the county knew that the fire was there, was coming, and I don't know why they would tell people to stay in place, to shelter in place. He should have been telling them the opposite, to evacuate. And also at that time, the Maui EOC was only partially activated. So that is a little weird that the EOC wasn't fully evacuated, because remember there were two fires, one in Olinda and one in Kula, early in the morning, and the Kula fire was pretty big. So I would think that would have caused the EOC to be fully activated, because they had already evacuated a number of people, a pretty good amount of people. So there was a serious lack of response, and I don't know who is responsible for that, but it does seem like Herman Andaya and Mayor Bissen are being blamed for this. So that is the main things that I wanted to point out. There is more to come, and a lot of I guess, opinions and questions that are now being, I guess, that are now surfacing now that we have this information. So look out for another video going into more details, and we will continue to do our best to bring you guys a unbiased analysis of this report. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.